Hey there, welcome to Thursday's Q&A helpline. So every Thursday I do a Q&A whereby I answer some of the agents' questions and also pick a topic, and then I basically teach that topic to real estate agents. So today's topic that I'm gonna cover is basically 7 cures for the slow market, and I'm gonna refer to my notes over here. But by the way, I don't believe in reading script, just like newscasters from the camera. So I just have a list over here of 7 points, and then I'm gonna cover them in greater detail. But before I come to the 7 cures for the slow market, let me also answer one of the questions that I'm getting from a lot of agents, and that has to do with posting posts on Facebook. So I mean, if you know me, right, then you know that I'm against boosting posts on Facebook, boosting properties on Facebook, and unless you have a very specific strategy that it will benefit you, I will tell you my answer is no, don't do it, don't boost posts on Facebook. All right. So the thing that a lot of agents that I mean I'm hearing from every day I'm hearing from agents, and a lot of agents who saw me, right, and those who said that they're not getting any leads, they're not getting any business from Facebook, are those agents who actually boosted their posts before. And that is a bit self-explanatory, in the sense that boost posts is actually the wrong thing to do, right? And the biggest reason has to do with Facebook needing your money. Facebook is a platform, and Facebook allows you to advertise on their platform. They have everybody there. The entire planet is on Facebook, right? So everybody goes there, and they want to keep people online, and they ask you to boost support. They keep suggesting you, and that's why a lot of agents, when they post a property, they post nice photos, and suddenly Facebook shows them boost this post, reach more people, get more leads, get more inquiries. I think that's total BS. Don't believe it. And the biggest reason actually has to do with you're not in control. Because why is that? Because people still stay on Facebook when they see your boosted post, unless unless you want to be a full-time social media manager, unless you want to reply to every single comment that comes on, unless you want to follow up with every single person that asks you to PM you, unless you have time for that, and unless you want to spend your time not be an agent, spend your time be a social media manager, right? Then go ahead, be my guest, go ahead, post, reply back to all those comments. But personally, I never reply to those comments. But yeah, I do reply to comments that agents are asking me, but I do not reply to comment on ads. And the reason is very simple, right? The kind of ad that I run, the kind of ad that my agents run, have a direct response mechanism, and that response mechanism requires you to make the people who are seeing your post to take a specific action. You want to build your list, you want to be a real estate agent for the long term, right? You don't want to be keep depending on Facebook to give you leads over time, right? So the best strategy for you, the best way to overcome that, is actually to take them off Facebook, take them away from Facebook, and that's in your interest. How do you do that? You send them to your website, you send them to your whatever offer that you're offering, and in exchange for the email and mobile number, so that you can automatically follow up with them until they're ready to buy or sell, or invest, or whatever it is that you want them to do, right? So that's the much more smarter way. There's a much better way. That's one of the best ways. Direct response marketing is the best way as a realtor to make money, to get more and more people into your list, so that in future, right, when they're ready, when when they want to buy or sell a house, you are already automatically emailing them every single week, every single day, every single month, right, without you lifting a finger. So, right, in other words, boosting posts gives you extra work that you cannot afford, right? it takes you away from the things, the money making activities. And I always keep talking about money making activities with my agent. What are the things that make you money? Appointments, right? What are the things that make you money? Presentation, right? What are the things that make you money, right? Meeting face to face. So all these things make you money. And posting on Facebook, creating pictures, writing listings, doing admin job, all these don't make you any money at all, right? So when you boost posts, you're actually being diverted towards activities that are not in your interest, that are not in your favor, and they end up giving you more and more job to do, while not really giving you a foundation for future growth. So the foundation for future growth is actually in follow-up, it's actually in building your own list, in building your own source of traffic. So I learned this some time ago from one of my mentors, and this is a very good analogy to use here, right? So there are three types of traffic, and traffic means that people who are visiting online, and then you send them somewhere else, based on what kind of actions you want them to take. So the three types of traffic is basically, the first one is very simple, traffic that you own, which is the best one, which is your own email list, which is your own group, for example, which is on your own platform that you can control, and you can keep them for years and years and years. You can keep shooting them whatever property that you have. You can keep sending them co-broke listings. You can keep sending them whatever it is that you want to sell, and you will never go out of business. That's the best kind of traffic there is, alright? And the second type of traffic is traffic that you can control, which is basically Facebook, right? So traffic, I would say boost post is not much of a control, because they still stay on Facebook. So unless you get them to click a link and get them to your website, then that is the kind of traffic that you can control. And there are pros and cons to it, because you have to pay the money, right? And then they can choose to kick you out for no apparent reason. Even property guru, even online property portals are traffic that you can control. And the worst kind of traffic is that the traffic that you cannot control. You got absolutely zero control over that kind of traffic, and that traffic is like something to do with search engine, something to do with search engine optimization, SEO, and stuff like that. And that is the hardest kind of traffic for you to do anything about it, right? So you should focus all your effort on traffic that you own, and that ties directly with not boosting posts. Alright, so now I'm gonna move on to today's topic, which is basically 7 cures for the slow market. Now, whether or not the market is slow is, that's what I've learned from my mentors, and it's very, very true. Whether or not the market is slow or not, it has nothing to do with you. Seriously, alright? So it has everything to do with your own mindset, right? And market, whether it's going up or going down, or stabilizing or steady, right? There are opportunities are still there. There is money to be made. There are houses transacting. There are people wanting to buy a house, people wanting to rent a house. So it's the basic necessities of life. Never forget that. All right. So now it happens that some agents, they're not making money, so their own market is actually doing very, very badly. So what are the cures? And today, this is specifically, I'm gonna talk about this. So the first cure is for you to actually go 100% digital. Go online. If you have offline contacts, if you have offline ways of doing things, stop it. Go online. And online is the next frontier. Online is where everybody is right now. All right. And especially during the circuit breaker period in Singapore, and the movement control order in Malaysia and across the world because of the coronavirus, right? Everybody is having meetings online, right? So if you haven't been doing it, then start doing it. Everybody is doing it. PropNext, ERA, a lot of agents out there are already doing it. If you're not doing it, then you should definitely go online 100%. You should move your marketing online. You should basically do your presentation on Zoom, do your presentation online. So online is the way to move forward, because everybody, let's be honest, everybody is online, right? And in time to come, in future, more and more people will definitely go online, because an entire generation is born during the time of smartphone, during the time of internet, right? For example, I grew up at a time where Nokia was all the rage and there was no internet, only 2G or 1G, right? So right now, like our own children, right, they are growing up with apps, they're growing up with smartphones, and when they grow up, definitely it will be something else, right? So online is the way to move forward. Don't be a dinosaur. I always keep saying, always always go where the future is, right? And the future is online, internet, all right? And the second cure is basically follow up again and again and again, right? Follow up is a huge problem, right? And I'll be very upfront with you, even with my students, even with my members, right? Even with my trainees, a lot of agents that I work with, right? The number one weakness has to do with follow up. And these agents, right? Yes, they are doing okay. I'm not saying they are doing badly, but they're doing fine. But the thing is that there's a lot of wastage. They're wasting money on advertising because they don't have the time, they don't have systems, they don't have assistants to reach out to prospects in a timely manner that they paid money for. And by the time they reach out to them, they follow up with them, it's already too late because the prospect already lose their interest. And it's true, right? But they're not telling you. Prospects will never tell you that, oh, I've lost my interest because you didn't bother following up with me. No. They don't do that. They don't give you the benefit of the doubt. In the real world, it's much harder. All right. So you got to keep following up. You got to keep reaching out to them until you get the feeling, you get the idea that okay, they're serious, they're genuine. Build relationship. That's the whole idea behind following up. Whether or not the person, right, is ready to move, whether he has the motivation, whether he has the intention, whether he has the money to move forward or not. That's it, right? And I always keep telling my agents, right, you can never follow up enough. Seriously, you can never follow up enough. And think about it, right? The kind of follow up that many agents do, right, you just call them once after maybe like 3 or 4 days, or many agents don't even bother calling up, and those leads are dead, right? So that's the reason agents have this misconception that because they didn't follow up with that person, now they don't want to look bad, so they don't want to call them, and they end up totally not calling them. That's a bad thing to do, right? So the fact of the matter is that just as agents are giving up, prospects are actually picking up their journey, right? And if you look at statistics, if you look at the results of marketing, if you follow marketing, right, you realize that the sales are actually made not on the first touch, but on the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 touch. So many agents are just giving up on the first or second touch, and they never even bother reaching to the third and fourth and fifth and sixth touch, right? So what do I mean by touch? Touch means that you are reaching out to prospect. If you reply them by an email, just consider one touch. If you call them, just consider a second touch. And if you SMS them, just consider a third touch, right? So touch means that you use multiple channels to reach out to them, and to keep reaching them. And the best way to do follow up, the best way to actually do it has to be automated. There's no other way. Otherwise, you will seriously burn out. All right, trying to manually call them, trying to manually WhatsApp them is labor, is back-breaking labor. All right, so you got to automate follow up. You got to keep follow up again and again and again. And follow up seriously is everything. All right, and the third cure is actually work with affiliates. Who are affiliates? Now in real estate, right? Affiliated people, affiliated professionals are basically who are involved in the home buying and selling process other than realtors. For example, bankers, for example, mortgage agents, banks, for example, movers, contractors, renovation companies, painters. In the case of lender, then you need landscape companies, for example, interior designer. So all these, all these pair of related professionals are called affiliate, and these are one of the best ways to actually build a relationship, and so that they will send business your way, and make it reciprocal, make it win-win for yourself and for them. Become better in building relationship, become better in closing deals. So you close deals, you make deals with such professionals that you tell them, hey, I have customers, I have buyers, I have sellers that I work with. They need help with their renovation, they need help with their painting, they need help with their mortgage, they need help with whatever it is. All right, build relationship with them, and then tell them that you send them business their way in exchange for a referral fee. Just be upfront with them. And to be honest, if agents are struggling, then there are a lot of other professionals who are struggling too, and they will definitely they will be very very grateful, and they will grab the opportunity from you. So you got to basically go get out there, talk to some of the professionals, shoot them a message, and tell them that you have marketing in place, that you have some lead, you have some business coming in, you would like to share it in exchange for a referral fee. And that's one of the fastest way to make quick money. All right, okay, so now I'm gonna move on to the cure number 4, which is invest in new technology. Right, so this is something that requires a bit of flexibility and a bit of vigilance on your part, to be aware of what are the new trends which are coming in. For example, like let me give you a new trend which was a new trend a while ago. It's been some time, it's no longer a new trend, and that had to do with 360-degree video. Remember 360-degree camera, 360-degree photos? Yeah, correct. Remember when Google first came out with Street View? That's the best application that I have ever seen on 360-degree pictures, and that's one of the ways that you can actually leverage to build a virtual tour. It's not about cost. It's actually quite cheap to do it. So because it's already been there for some time, right? And it's so easy that you just have to have a application and then start using it. That's it, right? And in Singapore, there are several companies which are offering it, and seriously, it can be a lifesaver for you, especially if you transform your listings into interactive, in light of the movement control, in light of the coronavirus and everything. It's a good idea to invest in this kind of technology. All right, so it's gonna save you a lot of headaches, and it will prevent you from being disrupted. All right, so yeah, an example that I would like to give you about disruption is, for example, when there was the movement control, right? People cannot do door knocking, obviously, right? So those agents who relied on door knocking, they couldn't make money. Simple as that, right? So they find that their old strategies are no longer working, and they quit real estate altogether. And you don't want that to happen, right? So the best way is to actually be vigilant. Go and find out. Go read online. Find out from technology professionals what's happening, what's coming up, what's the news, what's the latest new stuff which is coming up on the market, and then try to figure out the application. How can you apply it to your business? How can you make your customers' life easier? So when you put yourself in your customer's shoes, it definitely makes it much easier for you to visualize, for you to try to craft an experience around new technology. All right, so many agents get stuck at the application part. They know that the technology is good, there's new technology coming up, but they get stuck at applying that technology to the particular related to their own related business. And I mean, that's sad, but it doesn't have to be that way. So basically, you just have to talk to more professionals out there, find out the application, look at other countries, how they're doing it, how are realtors in other countries applying it, and then start doing the same thing. All right, so copy what works. Copy, like I always keep saying, if you can copy, you can succeed. So if you copy what other agents are already doing in terms of new technology, then definitely your chances of succeeding in Singapore itself or wherever you are also will improve. All right, so now moving on to skill number 5: sell what sells. And this is pretty obvious, right? So you go to sell what is selling. You cannot sell what is not selling, which is logical, right? But it's a bit counterintuitive for agents to understand, right? For example, sell what sells, right? So you got to use statistics, look at home sales, look at home data, and that should tell you what kind of homes are selling. and then you go and sell those kind of homes, because the market never lies, the data never lies, it's already out there. Your feeling, maybe for a lot of people it's hit or miss, right? You get wrong feelings about it, but actually that's the right thing to do, right? So different people, they have different kind of personality, and I talk about it in my book in detail. But my point here today is basically listen to what's happening on the ground, listen to data, listen to statistics, look at statistics. They will tell you a story, they will tell you what's selling in Singapore, what's selling in Malaysia, what's selling overseas, and then you go and sell what is selling. You stop selling which is not selling, right? So very simple. But to apply this advice in actual your real estate, in actual practice, is another issue, right? So it the more you do it, the better you become at it, all right? And it's better for you to start earlier than wait for things to happen. You cannot do that, all right? And now I'm gonna move on to the sixth cure for slow market, and that has to do with get more testimonials, right? So I'm sure that that there are some websites popping up where they review real estate agents, but to me all those reviews, right, have one major flaw, and that flaw is those are lousy testimonials, lousy reviews. Seriously, you need to get power testimonials, the kind of testimonials that I teach in my book and I teach in my coaching and in my program. And if you already have my book, then you should know that the kind of testimonials that I'm talking about has to do with solid power testimonials. And actually I'm talking about in my book, okay, which page? I don't even know which page of my book it is. Anyway, okay, that topic, that testimonial is very simple, right? Okay, power testimonial, it goes something like, Yasser sold my 5-bedroom condominium in Tampines for 110% of my asking price in only 5 days. And that is a power testimonial, right? And the best way to do it actually is to get your customer to follow your template. You write them the testimonial and you ask them to review. That's it. Nothing complicated, nothing nothing fancy. It's simple, it's easy. Simple is best. And the best way to do is actually to write it and then ask them to approve. That's it, and you already have it. Instead of you go to some online website, propertyagent.review.com, for example, and they tell you, oh, this agent he's nice, dependable, knowledgeable. That's BS. Seriously, that doesn't tell what that doesn't add context. Context is powerful, more powerful than content, right? So content is knowledgeable, easy to work with, easygoing. Yeah, but how does that benefit all the other buyers or sellers in the marketplace? When you add context. So the context is, oh, yes, I sold my 5-bedroom condominium in Tampines for a price of 110% of my asking price, and I made an additional maybe 100,000 in profit in only 3 days, in only 5 days. And if, for example, if some agents are selling houses in 1 day, you know what you should be saying? You should be saying 24 hours. You shouldn't be saying 1 day, sold in 1 day. You should be saying sold in 24 hours. Alright? So seriously, these are one of my best tips. Alright? And then the last cure of a slow market is actually, which is pretty obvious, get more referrals. Right? So now, referral are free money. It's easy money. You're not spending any advertising. You're not spending any marketing. You just have to get them. You already have a relationship with them. You already build a relationship with the customer. You already helped them buy or sell a house before, right? So just get them to refer you to other people. Simple as that. And usually, I understand. I know that just asking for a referral is a bit stressful. So you got to follow my script, and again, the script is actually in my book. And then when you follow the script, it's actually the way I teach it. All right, then it becomes natural to you. It becomes easy for you, so you can ask for referral without sounding filthy or without sounding desperate. All right, so it's very straightforward. It's a very simple script. Don't change it, just follow it, just use it. And the secret is actually in delivery of that script, and that delivery becomes perfect when you practice. All right, so the more you practice, the better the better you're gonna become at asking for referrals. And then when you get the referrals, right, make sure you do the job. Make sure you ask the referral for another referral, and that's how you continue the chain. And you got referral number one, you do business with him, ask him for referral, ask him for at least a few referrals, and then those two referrals that the second guy you work with, ask him for a referral, and then you have three. That's how you continue building the chain. Right, so Singapore is small, I know, but that's not an excuse to prevent you from getting more business, to prevent you from getting more money. Right, the market is huge, the opportunity is huge, the money out there is huge. A lot of money is circulating everywhere. You just have to grab it. You never know, right? The market is bigger than many agents think, or you think there's not too many agents, not many people buying houses. That's BS, right? People will always be buying houses, right? It's just that you have to be in the right place and the right time, and you have to say your unique selling proposition. All right, and apply my advice in the book and in my programs that I teach you. Right, so now get out there and start selling houses. I'll see you in my next Q&A helpline. Bye bye.